Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Today we have an issue that I think is going to make it difficult to make the law make sense, but we'll talk about it anyway. I'll have more on that in just a moment. Today we're going to talk about two people. One of them is a gentleman by the name of Kenneth Twyman, and the other one is a gentleman by the name of Ibrahim Yazid. We'll talk about their cases here in just a minute. But before we get there, we have to provide a little disclaimer. And that is, until someone has been convicted of a crime in a court of law, and that conviction has been affirmed on appeal, then the facts that are alleged are only that. They are allegations of fact. They are not proven facts. And as a result of that, we have to remember that everyone in our criminal justice system is presumed innocent until proven guilty. And we do that for every type of crime, even the most heinous. So today we're going to talk about a really touchy subject. It's bail reform. Okay, let's insert this at the beginning where we talk about bail. So let's talk a little bit about bail reform. What exactly is bail? Bail, sometimes called bonding out, is a process by where someone puts down either cash money or a surety bond in order to get out of jail. What's the difference? Well, if you have a bond, let's suppose that you're a drunk driver and you get pulled over and you're arrested and you go to jail, and the judge gives you a $1,000 bond. You can get out of jail by either posting $1,000 cash, which can be done usually by certified check, or you can go to a bondsman. The bondsman will post a surety bond of $1,000, which essentially is a promise to the court to pay the court $1,000 if you don't show up. Now, sometimes the court will allow a surety bond, and sometimes it will not. Sometimes it will say $1 million bond, cash only. And that is a cash bond, and it has to be posted by cash. You have to have the money and raise the money. Now, the reason they do this is to make you show up for trial. Bail reform is necessary in a lot of jurisdictions because it is not doing the job of protecting the public. Bail has two principal functions. It allows someone who is accused of a crime to remain free until they face a jury on the presumption that doing so does not harm the public. Now, that presumption is obviously one that can be rebutted by other facts. Unfortunately, in many jurisdictions, and the first jurisdiction we're going to talk about here today is Milwaukee, apparently the criminal history of an individual and the number of pending charges that an individual has doesn't figure into the bail calculation. Kenneth Twyman, and I will urge you to go look at Fox 6, which is the Milwaukee Fox channel, and search on Kenneth Twyman's name and look at the coverage of the alleged incidents in which he has been involved. The bottom line is this gentleman's been on Wisconsin's most wanted list numerous times. Initially, his bond was set at $5,000 for a drug issue, and then he's had other aggravated assaults, and he was out on bond when he killed a young man at a convenience store. And then when he was arrested for that, he bonded out again and fled the state. The U.S. Marshals tracked him down in Arkansas, brought him back, and he again posted bond and went into hiding. They found him a fourth time at his mother's house and arrested him there. He is currently sitting in jail on $200,000 bond. They have finally pushed the bond up to a level where he can't make the bond. Now, it's important to remember that when someone is on bond or on bail and they miss a court appearance or they fail to show up, they are effectively jumping bail, and the bail amount is forfeited. Each time this gentleman has been arrested, it went from $1,000 to $5,000 to $15,000 to $100,000 and now to $200,000. And every time, that much cash money has been deposited with the court. I said cash money. Nobody signs a promissory note. They don't use a bondsman to go put up a surety bond. They use a cash bond. And this gentleman, Twyman, is alleged to be part of a drug gang, and his drug boss apparently is posting the bail for him. Now, we don't know that for sure. We don't even know that the person who posted it is really a drug boss. Those are simply some of the allegations that have been reported in the press, and I take no position on whether or not they are factually correct. But at some point, the purpose of protecting the public needs to outweigh the purpose of allowing someone to remain free, pending resolution of their criminal charges. Because some criminal charges are so significant and so serious that the public needs to be protected. In this Twyman's case, he's out on bond for other various criminal acts, and he kills a man. This is part of the problem with crime control. You know, they say that all politics is local, and there's a great deal of truth to that, which is the crime that most affects you is the crime that goes on in your city, in your community, in your county. Those are the crimes that are most troubling to you, and those are the ones that you have the greatest ability to impact by your selection of a prosecutor. And in those instances where you get to vote on judges, you have an opportunity to address the issue there. But it should not be a situation where someone can just demand bail and get it, particularly where there is a serious crime at issue. Which leads me to my second case, Ibrahim Yazid. Anaya Blanchard was a pretty African-American mixed girl who was planning on attending Auburn University here in my area in Auburn, Alabama. She was abducted at gunpoint at a gas station allegedly by Yazid. According to testimony that has been offered in the courtroom, when she realized she was being taken to another location to be assaulted, she went for Yazid's gun and he shot her and killed her. He unceremoniously dumped her body in a swamp. Her body was eventually located, and he was located on the run in Pensacola, Florida. This is his mugshot after he got into a bit of a tiff with the U.S. Marshals. Helpful tip for anybody who is thinking of running from the law. When the U.S. Marshals come for you, they are going to get you. There is no question that they will get you. They will get you. Sooner or later, they will get you. And resisting them is sort of like resisting the Borg in the Star Trek universe. Resistance is futile. They're going to get you. And they got him. They took him back to Lee County. I took him first into Pensacola, where he waived extradition. And then they shipped him up to Lee County, Alabama, where he has been sitting in jail since then. Now, he asked for bond, but it wasn't granted because there was a murder involved. And in Alabama, when there is a murder involved, you have no right to bail. You can still be granted bail, but you don't have a constitutional right under the Alabama Constitution to get that bail. So how does this figure into the bail issue? Well, at the time that he abducted and killed, allegedly, Anaya Blanchard, he was out on bail from having beaten an elderly man nearly to death in a hotel room and stealing his belongings. Did you hear me? He beat a guy nearly to death and they let him out on bail. Now, here's a guy who is a danger to the community. He has already proved that. He had an extensive criminal record, and yet he was able to get bail. Now, Alabama, I believe, is in the process of fixing that mistake in their system. But the bottom line is, bail needs to exist because not everybody is guilty. These were just criminal acts against vulnerable people. And again, all of these are just allegations at this point. Nothing has been proved. But they demonstrate that people need to be involved on the local level. You should be interested in what your prosecutor's views on bail are. You should be interested in what your prosecutor's views on charging offenses are. Now, I have been very critical of prosecutors who charge a greater charge in order to increase the bail so that someone can't bail themselves out of jail as a means of extorting a guilty plea when they may in fact not be guilty. But I do think there needs to be a middle ground that prosecutors can occupy that says we take into consideration the severity of the crime and also whether or not there are any valid defenses to it. And that should make a difference in how bail is done in every state. But you have the ability to impact that by how you vote, by the prosecutors you vote for, and by the judges you vote for if your jurisdiction allows you to vote for judges. These are important things to consider, and I hope that as you go forward, you will take a look at these in future elections. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, please go over here and subscribe to our channel. Like and share the video if you would. All of these things make it better for me on the YouTube algorithm. Thank you again for watching. And again, I appreciate your contributions to this channel in the comments section. Those are always a great deal of fun to deal with. Have a great day.